Let me introduce you to Penny Croal.
Hi, Carl. Lovely to speak to you while I'm in London and you're in South Africa. I'm so excited and so honoured to come back to South Africa again. One of my favourite cities is Cape Town.
Fantastic, and we welcome someone with your expertise, because first tell me, I know you've been training in the last few years all over the world. Just give us a bird's eye view of where you've been.
Well, I was the first person to take matrix reimprinting to India and Meta Health. I've trained in Thailand. I've just come back from Egypt very recently. I've trained in Denmark and Finland, and of course, in my hometown, London.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned what you're training in. For the newbies who don't know, we're talking to new people who may be coaches, psychologists, healers, and who may have issues themselves that they've struggled with. What are the most, before we go on to the modality, what are the most common things that make you passionate about the work you do, that you help people with?
Well, interestingly enough, a little bit of background about me, if you don't mind,
yes,
is
great.
that if somebody had said to me 15 years ago, you're going to be teaching this, you're going to be practitioner, I've just looked at them and gone, you are crazy. That's not what I went to one of the workshops for. In fact, I went to a workshop because I healed myself with the tapping modality of Bell's palsy. So my face was paralyzed and dropped, and I was saliva, and you could see my eyeball. And then I did a lot of training courses and met Carl Dawson, the creator of Matrix Reimprinting, and was so fortunate to be part of his creation. So I was on that journey with him, and therefore one of the founding trainers. However, what I noticed when I was tapping with people, at the time, my book was Louise Hay, You Can Heal Yourself. But more and more clients were saying to me, it's not resonating, Penny. It's not resonating. And on that journey, when I was working with clients, I came across Meta Health. And Meta Health is not a modality, a healing modality. It's an analytical tool, but it's more than that. And now, what gives me just so much joy is to see people that have been in therapy for years and years and years and years and still have their eczema, still have a back pain, still say, yeah, I'll just tap on this today. So with these two modalities, we can now get so specific, we can actually empower them to heal themselves. That, to me, makes my heart sing. This is not just teaching another modality these are two separate modalities that go hand in hand like a horse and carriage. They cannot go apart for me. And
okay.
so for me, I specialize in serious disease now and cancer. Now, I've never had cancer personally, but I work now with clients from all over the world that heal themselves through these two modalities and looking at their lifestyle. But this is not just a 1 minute wonder, is it, Carl? I mean, you're an excellent practitioner and trainer yourself, and we can see the actual differences with people. So whether you're a psychologist, whether you're a talking therapist, whether you're a masseur, I have all different types of people coming on the training, or even come for yourself like I did. I first went to my first EFT course because for me, not for anybody else. I didn't want to do this. And along the way, I started getting interested and curious.
So let's just, thanks, Penny. It's a lovely introduction. Let's just slow down for the newbies when we're talking about, well, for people who are new to all of this, when we're talking about what you heard that there was a modality to help your
Bell's palsy.
Your Bell's palsy, which was about tapping on the meridian points, correct?
Yes.
And by doing that, I don't know about you, but I call it energy psychology. You were tapping into the energies that were stuck.
Yeah, I went to, I found, because I had a trapped nerve, I had Bell's palsy and a broken foot, so not much going on for me. I went to a masseuse about my trapped nerve, and I was honest, I was like this. And she said, do you want to do something about your face? And I went, Well, yes, of course I do. If she'd asked me at that point in my life, do you want to dance around a fire naked? I may well have done it because things were so bad for me. And when she said, right, just follow me. And she tapped with me. And 3 days later, I woke up and my face was back to normal.
And would you say for people who say, well, how could that happen? Was that because you released some emotional energies that were affecting you physically?
Yeah, there was, I had a massive trauma. I hadn't really thought about it. And he, now I know from a mental health point of view that he dishonored this, my best friend dishonored me. But at the time, she just helped me release that trap, humiliation and shame.
So just on a basic level, you can, by coming to learn EFT, you can learn for your, I used to always say, you know, I've been training in South Africa for about 17 years, but I used to say it helps you and it can help your family. And then if you are a coach and trained to, and dealing with the public in your profession, you can quickly get to bypass years of talk therapy and get to the emotional, the root causes. This is just with EFT.
Yeah, this is just with EFT.
Exactly, which you are going to be training the basics, EFT 1 and 2. So when people just want to dip their toe in the water and get that basic foundation, that will be available to them. But then we move on to...
Then we move on to the matrix. The magic.
And now what's the magic? That's none of us who learned EFT can ever do a session with anyone without going into the matrix. And now you explain why that takes it to another level.
So the matrix just goes at one level beyond in the fact that we believe that we are all connected. So we are one consciousness. So what happens to me will happen to everybody. But the matrix itself is a combination of timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, all the therapies I used to train myself, inner child work.
I was going to say that was my big one. Inner child. So the minute we were tapping on what was to me the inner child, which is what we do in the matrix. So yeah, exactly. It
so
just brings everything together.
And we can go really to pre-conscious memories. I mean, I've worked with thousands of people now. However, there is only one man that has come into my session and I've said, so do you remember anything about your childhood? And he looked at me and he was a doctor himself. And he said, yes, I remember my birth. And I went, oh. However, the majority of us don't remember our birth. We don't remember. I didn't remember anything I was 12-year-old. And I haven't had a traumatic life, Carl. I have had a couple of nervous breakdowns before I started tapping on myself. And it builds up the resilience. And we know that the more trauma that we've had, if we can heal ourselves, the stronger our resilience will be. So just in that 5-day workshop, people can not only change their beliefs, I'll reword that, not only look at their beliefs and find out their limiting beliefs. One of my limiting beliefs was I didn't love myself.
And that's, just to interrupt, that comes out from what we would have perceived as a trauma, especially before the age of 6. And a trauma can be a big T trauma and a little t trauma. Something happens to us and we decide that our worldview and our belief about ourselves and life is what happened to us, is as a result of that. And what we're doing with matrix reimprinting, if you don't mind me interrupting, is going back to that memory, even if in the beginning it takes time with the tapping to surface, and then from that we can say, well, that belief doesn't have to stifle our life and cause illness in us today.
Exactly. I mean, one of my biggest beliefs personally was that I was stupid, and I knew, I built up my own businesses. However, when I went back into the matrix to that little 5-year-old girl, and on the course, you'll learn how to go back and access these memories. And it's not challenging, it's not tricky, it's just a skill that you can teach yourself on the workshop. But when I went back to that little girl, 5-year-old, was that the truth? Did my teacher actually say I was stupid? Did the class laugh at me because I was stupid? Who knows? But not only did I change that belief, I am now training doctors and working with doctors. So I don't have that belief because I kept on self-sabotaging myself through life. I don't deserve to be a millionaire because I'm stupid. I don't deserve to be running companies because I'm stupid. So I'd self-sabotage until I was 36.
Yes. And you know, I have to add in from my side, I went in to develop the goal, how you know, we have goal traumas and how this can help us achieve our dreams and goals. And using these same techniques, I cleared my resistance to finding the love of my life. We've been married 10 years, and there were many other issues about money, about love, about, you know, so it can be illness, it can be a physical because our traumas and our beliefs affect us physically, and it can be things, goals we can't achieve, or you know, finding love because we have stored memories subconsciously running our life. And it doesn't have to be that way. And when it comes to physical illness, because I'm now going to move on, so in Matrix we learn how to unearth and heal those younger selves or echoes that were traumatized in the past, and even go into the future and create the future we want from future, what we call echoes. And it's a beautiful way. There is no time, and it's a magical way, really, but it's based in neuroscience, if the latest in neuroscience. I don't know about you, Penny, but when I started this work, there was not the advances in brain and neuroscience that there are today. So now, as you say, you're talking to doctors, and everything that we now teaching is becoming more and more verified scientifically, correct?
Isn't that just great? Isn't it just fabulous that I can say, yeah, look at this YouTube video from Bruce Lipton or Joe Dispenza or Robert Scare.
Dr.
Joe Dispenza, Dr. Robert Scare, Dr. Bruce Lipton, all doctors, all scientists, all, there's Dr. Surf, who's just come across, you know, time and time again, the backup is there.
But also, sorry.
And what I was just about to say, so because I specialize in serious disease, I like to look at the emotional trauma that, and my speciality is cancer. I have worked with MS, ME.
Give us an example of how cancer develops from a trauma, and maybe then bring in how mental health would help, you know, which is the other modality.
Yeah, so looking at mental health, for example, breast cancer. It's the biggest scare around at the moment on UK TV. The adverts keep on saying 1 in 3 women die of breast cancer. However, there's 2 types of breast cancer. And if you are diagnosed with ductal breast cancer, we can now look at what is actually causing that, and it will be a brutal separation. So working with a lady a couple of years ago, she actually lost her child when the child was 2-year-old. And this was horrendous for the whole family, but then she got pregnant again. Now, when she got pregnant, they found out that she had breast cancer. So then they give her an ultimatum: well, you keep the child, or you deal with it. You know, you might die during childbirth or because of the cancer, or you actually deal and have a mastectomy, have chemotherapy, radiotherapy. And when I was working with her, we looked at that specific incident of losing her first child, because it was an acceptance that she got pregnant again. And today she's still alive. She actually just sent me a postcard today in the post, funnily enough, to say thank you. And she gets her little toddler to write the postcard. So it comes from the little baby, not from her. So the first, she's still alive. Now, when we're given ultimatums like that, that is very fearsome. But on the smaller, not so fearful side of things, eczema. So many people, I've noticed when I was with clients, I'd say, what's going on here? Oh, I have to live with it. Oh, and they sit down, and there's that thing, you know, that people say, oh, over 40, you start oomping when you're poofing when you sit down because you've got a lower back pain. You don't have, that's not age, guys. There is something going on about your back. So then we can look at specifically, again, eczema is about separation, back pain, we can look at that about the core support, and each part of your spine has a different meaning. Isn't that just fascinating? So we can be more specific.
I mean, it's in theory, it sounds great, but you have been working with it for how many years and seeing over and over again the connection between a past trauma and the illness, the physical illness. Now, this isn't an area that I'm trained in, so I'm very keen to actually attend your workshop, but I just would like you to, just verify again how often this just cuts down time to help a person reframe their life and their beliefs and their future.
So I was working with a lady who came to me actually for anxiety, first of all, and I noticed she had terrible skin problems. And when I asked her about this, because I'm always curious, I'm one of those little curious people, and we cleared her eczema in 2 sessions after she had had this for 30 odd years. She had it since she was 12-year-old. She had spent thousands on dermatologists, on going to different doctors, on creams, on steroids, on thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. And at the time, I just said to her, it'd be quite interesting to see how much she did spend. And she said, oh my God, my husband has said to me, whatever this woman wants, just pay her because it'll save me. She was spending £400 a week on creams. Because otherwise she'd bleed, and she'd still go to bed with mittens on because she'd scratch in the middle of the night.
And what was the result of working with you?
After 2 sessions, and that was basically her mother had died when she was that age. And we could have got back to that just purely with EFT, but it might have taken time because our body has, I don't like the word resistance, but I'll explain that on the workshop. But because for me, resistance is a biological way that the body is trying to protect itself. So Meta Health cuts through all of that to get to the core and to allow you to empower yourself to do the healing. It's just much quicker. Is
it the awareness that you give the client plus energy moving and going back to the earlier echo with the knowledge that she lost a child or that this trauma happened?
It's an analytical process. So we put together a bespoke therapy plan for each client because each client is very different. So we look at their eating habits, we look at their environment. There's no point in even EFT and Matrix if somebody's got a great, they've got new beliefs and then they're still going back to their husband that beats them. So we have to look at all of that and look at a very specific therapy plan for them. If they don't like meditating, what else can they do? And then we clear the emotional trauma using EFT and Matrix. But with the Matrix, I always use Matrix with Meta to get to pre-conscious memories of birth or past lives, if you believe in past lives.
Yeah, or even the family generational trauma.
Yeah, that pattern is great, isn't it?
Yeah, so let's bring it home now to February.
Yeah.
And you coming out, I don't know where in between, well, it doesn't matter where you've been training before, but we are organizing it for Cape Town.
Yep.
And we just finalizing the dates. It's mid-February that we're booking you to come and teach us. And I will be assisting, obviously, but I want you to know, or the people who train, that it will be under the auspices of, and you, Penny, just they will be getting certified under, and you tell me.
They have a choice, and I'm going to say this, they have a choice to be certified with EFTMRA, which is EFT Matrix Reimprinting Academy with Carl Dawson, or AAMET. And I will put up on your website the choices and what to do, because one is a little bit more stringent than the other, and I'm a trainer for both.
Okay, so at the end of this, they will have something that helps them. And depending on where they are as coaches or therapists, can they then go and help others? How easy is it to apply immediately after your training?
I want everybody to start working with their friends, their family, on themselves. I still love Gary Cray's personal peace procedure. I remember Sasha Allenby once saying to me, yes, I got a whole wallpaper. And I went, oh my God, I'll need more than one sheet of wallpaper to list things so we can start clearing ourselves. And for me, Carl, these workshops, these are not just about clearing some limiting beliefs. These are about stepping into life and truly living rather than just existing.
Exactly. And I don't know if anyone who watches the work I do, I say it's about living the life you love. And that's health, love, finances, whatever's meaningful for you, spiritual, mental, physical, as you clear using these techniques, what I've found in the 17 years I've been doing it. So life just opens up more and more beautifully for you. So it's a real gift for you to come and do the training. I no longer do full-time training. I only consult, but I will be there at your side as we work through, training people in EFT 1 and 2, in matrix reimprinting, the basic course, matrix reimprinting for specific issues. And can you just mention what I call the advanced?
Yeah, so the specific issues are getting really detailed in how to be it's the art of matrix, to work with serious disease, to work with specific incidents like trauma, big T trauma. This is something that I don't advocate people, on just a 3-day workshop to go and work with trauma. You can re-trigger the trauma if you don't know what you're doing, if you're being too nice to people, for example. So you can work with specific issues. So that's another 2-day training course. And I've just brought on my little pussycat called Layla. And 4 years ago, the vets told me she had 2 hours to live. And if it wasn't for matrix reimprinting and meta health, she would have only had 2 hours to live. But she is still alive now with a little personality, her eyes glinting. She's not very happy because I've just pulled her out of her sleeping slumber. So this is when we know, Carol, that these modalities that we're doing, they're not placebo, because she does not understand what a placebo is.
No, so you're saying a person could use it with their pets, even their horse, their dog, their cat.
Yes.
Whatever comes up in their life. Yes, a baby. So it's just so encompassing for a life you love, and for helping those you love live a life of more meaning and health.
Yeah.
So shall we wrap up now? I will, under this video, put more details of where people at least can contact me before, and we'll put up a website for South Africans on carylwestmore.com. I haven't actually put it up yet because I wanted to be very clear what we are, what we are offering and when.
Yeah. Lovely.
And that's going to, so thanks very much.
So I look forward to coming back to one of the most beautiful cities, I think, in the world.
And you're coming the best month. February is the lovely, beautiful, sunny.
And it's the month of love.
Yes, exactly. So who knows? We'll put it all on for you.
And as you can see, I've got a bit of a wicked sense of humor. So be prepared for laughs as well as tears, guys. I look forward to seeing you. I can't wait, Carl. I'm so honored to be working with you. Take care, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.